I would like to welcome you guys back to the Budget Hawk YouTube channel. Today we're going to go over a scenario where they have no cash flow. So how do I pay off debt with no cash flow? All right, so this scenario we're going to have $25 an hour and $20 an hour jobs, and this is what they bring in monthly. Okay, 1816 and 1462 for a total income of take-home pay of $3,278. Okay, so we're going to go down and we're going to go through their expenses because it's really hard to decide how to pay things off and pay your debt down, pay cars down, save money if you don't know where your money's going. So in this scenario, we have our expenses that we have to list out. We have our pay, but now we have to go and check out our expenses, okay? So in the gray, I always start out with the expenses that we need to survive and work, and everything down here you can basically pretty much cut out with the exception of your car registration. I should probably move those up there, but we're going to keep them down here for this scenario. Okay, so this couple has a mortgage, or they have a rent for $1,300. Now I want to come over here real quick because you're going to find in this scenario there's a reason they have no cash flow. There's a reason why they end up $76 in the hole every month, and they have to put that on a credit card. And one of those reasons could be that the rent may be too high, or any one of these columns that we have money allotted to may be off or may need to change in here. Okay, so I just like to point out that the recommended percentage of your income that should go towards housing should be about 30%. So with this income, the cost of the apartment should be $983. Now I know it's probably hard to find that, and I know we all like to live in a nice place. I get all of that. So a way that this person can, or this couple can get their expenses taken care of and lowered is by moving to a different apartment. That's just one out of many that many ways they can get more cash flow. But let's just run down here real quick. Over here is just the income minus the expense, and that's how much money we have left over. That's all this column is. So when you're going out punching your numbers in here, it shows you how much you have left to divvy out amongst all these columns. So we got electric at 80, we have phone at 110, we have internet 75, 200 for car insurance, 600 for food and groceries. This is including toiletries and cleaning supplies and whatnot for your home or apartment. Fuel, $200 I have budgeted a month for fuel. Life insurance is $22. I have other columns in here, obviously, water, garbage, natural gas, spending money, HOA. You just wouldn't fill those in. So now we get down to eating out. So now these are all the ones that you, with the exception, let's just hit these real quick, because you do have to, if you have a car, you do have to pay your car registration. And so this number is just what the car registration would be divided by 12. So that you can save this money, keep it in your checking account, and don't spend it. Don't spend it. And then at the end of the year, when you need to pay your car registration, you'll have the money in there to pay it. And wholesale memberships also too, like Sam's Club or Costco. Okay, I guess you don't need this one. You can shop at Walmart, you can shop at your local grocery store, and you don't necessarily need to get this, but you can get some good deals there on some bulk items. So we go down here. They have $100 budget out for eating out and $50 for clothing, $35 in subscriptions, and $25 membership at a gym. And then again, $17 for the car registration and $12. So now they have debt. Okay, they have a $100 minimum payment for a debt that's $4,250. They have a $150 minimum payment on a credit card for $7,500, and they just bought a car, a $15,518 car, which is a $300 payment. It's like a $301 payment. Okay, so when all these expenses are added up, this is the number we get. We get $3,376, but we only make $3,278. That leaves us with a deficit of $76. Okay, so there's a couple things that you can do here, okay? There's so many scenarios to run when you're dealing with a budget. You can do the Dave Ramsey way, which there's nothing wrong with that. You can cut spending or get an extra job, which I'm going to show over here. You can do velocity banking. You can not cut any spending and get an extra job. You can sell some stuff. So there's so many different things. So I can't do this scenario. I can't make up for everything. So I'm going to do a bunch of scenarios throughout the life of this channel that hopefully one will speak to you, or you get the general sense of what I'm trying to show in each and every scenario that I do. Okay, so we have a $76 deficit. That means that they're putting $76 every month. If they stick to this budget, and we're going to assume they're going to stick to the budget, $76 is going to go on a credit card. Okay? So that would mean that it's probably going to be this credit card will never get paid off and will only continue to go up. This credit card will get paid off in 67 months if they continue to make the $150 payment without adding any more to the balance. And the car will obviously be paid off in 60 months because it's a 5-year loan at 6%. Okay, so 60 months, 67 months, and this one will never get paid off. I have this here, but I'm going to explain that later, 62. But this one would never get paid off because they're constantly putting $76 every month on it. So just making monthly payments isn't going to do anything to paying off your debt, with the exception of these two in 67. That's in over 6 years, these will be paid off. Or I'm sorry, in over 5 years, they'll be paid off. But this one will be continually going on. Okay. So now we have our budget, because we always start out with a budget because we need to do budgets. We need to know where our money's going. We need to know where we're spending. We need to know if we're overspending. We need to be able to have a good idea of what it is that we bring in and what it is that we send out every month. So I just want to take a moment over here. I took the liberty to estimate how much you can make working 15 hours or working 20 hours a week at $15 an hour, 15 hours a week at $15 an hour, 20 hours a week at $13 an hour, 15 hours a week at $13 an hour. And then I did this one. I added this one for this scenario. 5 hours a week at $13 an hour. Okay, so we want to go ahead. So again, like I said, there's so many different scenarios, right? The scenario I'm going to pick here is they're not going to give up anything over here. Okay, this is pretty bare minimum if you ask me. $100 for eating out. It's not much fun in that, especially the way the prices are. $50 for clothes. I guess you can enjoy Netflix and whatever other subscriptions they have that equal $35, and the gym. And that is going to be their enjoyment for the month until they pay off their debts. So they're going to choose to work only 5 hours a week at $13 an hour. That's it. That's what they want to do. And they were going to get this through doing DoorDash and Uber and Lyft with their new car. Okay? So that's what they've chose to do. They didn't choose to cut, they chose to work more. You can choose to cut and not work more, and this would work out fine. You could move and lower that and get that down around $1,000. That leaves you with roughly $130 or $230 that you would have left over, because it would take away your deficit here and would put you in positive cash flow at that point. So just moving would take care of all of this. And so they wouldn't have to cut anywhere else, and they wouldn't have to get an extra job. But we're going to go with, they're going to stay where they're at. They're not going to change anything over here in the expenses column. They're going to work for $13 an hour, 5 hours a week. So when we come down here, let me move this over. So when we come down here, we're going to see their debts. Okay? 25%, 20% on the 2 credit cards, and 6% on the loan. So I ran some numbers to show you that if you cut expenses, so if you cut somewhere over here and you just broke even, okay, that means you move some numbers around up here, and you now are at the end of doing your budget, you have zero money to a lot. You're not in the negative and you're not in the positive cash flow. So you would just make these minimum monthly payments every month, all 3 of them. You would pay off the first one in 62 months. You'd pay off the second one in 67 months, and you'd pay off the third in 60, or you pay off the car in 60 months, the original loan date. So a total time to pay all these off would be, obviously, if you're paying them all at the same time, it'd be the longest one. It'd be 67 months to pay it off. And you would end up paying $9,618 in interest over that time. So if you're working for $13 an hour, 5 hours a week, that's 10 hours of pay period, you would have $164 cash flow to do a cash flow payoff. This would be it just happens to be both Avalanche and Debt Snowball. Avalanche is taking the highest interest rate, paying it off first, and Debt Snowball is taking the lowest balance and paying that off first. This just happens to work. It's both of them. So now we're going to take this $164 because that is the 240 minus the 76 gives us 264 or 164. I'm sorry. So we're going to take the 164 and the 100, and we're going to make minimum payments on these two. All right. We got to remember that we're not going to stop making payments on these. We're going to make these 2 payments every month while we're paying this one off. So we're going to take the 164 plus the $100, and we're going to put it on this credit card, and it'll take us 20 months to pay that off. Then what we're going to do, once this is paid off at 20 months, then we are going to take the 164, the 100, and the 150 and pay on the $7,500 credit card. At this point, this credit card is going to be $4,907 is what's going to be owed. So it'll be from, that's what it'll be owed on this at the 20-month mark. That'll take us 14 months to pay it off. And then we're going to pay the car off. We're going to take the 164, the 100, the 150, and the 300, and we're going to slap it on whatever's left over of this car. I didn't put that in here. Whatever's left over in this car, I accounted for the time, the 34 months, the 20 plus 14 months on this car loan and what it would be, and it would take 11 months then to pay off the rest of that. A total of 45 months to pay off all that debt, with only the interest being $3,780. Okay? So you can do the math there and see the interest you're saving is tremendous, and the time you're saving is really, really good also. So before I go over to the velocity banking side of this, I would like to share that every situation is different. Okay? I can't just say that velocity banking works all the time, when in this case, it doesn't. When in this case, working an extra 20 hours a month at $13 an hour will get you paid off in 45 months, saving you a ton in interest. So we're going to go over here, and I didn't even complete this because it wasn't working out at all. So velocity banking would be to take out a PLOC. They don't have a home, so they couldn't take out a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit. So they took out a PLOC, which is a personal line of credit, for $15,000. They have their income, they have their expenses. What you do with velocity banking is you're going to take the 2 credit cards, the $4,250 and the $7,500, and you're going to take money from your PLOC and pay those 2 credit cards off. So you transferred the balances of those 2 credit cards to your PLOC. That's what leaves you at $11,750. And what velocity banking does is you put all of your income in every month, and you take all of your expenses out of the PLOC every month. Your checking account is like a middleman. You're just moving your paycheck from your checking account into your PLOC, and then you're taking your expenses out of the PLOC and you're putting them into your checking account, and you're paying your bills from your checking account. So the whole premise of this is you want to keep as much of your income in the PLOC to cut back on interest, and pull your expenses out later on in the month. So hardly anybody that I know of gets paid one time a month. It's usually twice a month or weekly. So this is just an easy way to do it. Throw the income in, take the expenses out all at one time instead of throughout the month. But in reality, you're going to be doing it multiple times throughout the month. I took interest. This is 11%. This may be lower now, but 11%. The one I have, the HELOC I have, is at 11%. So I just did the numbers with 11%. So the interest rates are going to be for 11% on the 11,750. Okay, so the interest rates on all these are going to be higher, just simply because I just did, what did I do the math? I did this. I did the balance times 11% divided by 12. Okay, because there's 12 months in a year. The 11% is yearly. So these are going to be less, but it really doesn't matter what the interest is, because look at how long it takes you to pay off those 2 credit cards. Okay, all the way down here. I didn't even finish doing all of this because it doesn't matter. You're down here at 92 to 98 months. It's going to take you to pay that off. That doesn't make any sense at all to do velocity banking with this. Okay, because really all you're doing with velocity banking is you're just getting $152 extra by getting this $15,000 PLOC. So $152 only is what's going against your balance. Okay, and again, this is not now this would change. Okay, velocity banking right here would change if you cut back, or if you got an extra job, or if you cut back and got an extra job. Okay, and you can see the money is substantial, and for only 20 hours a week. Again, I did this part-time. Even if you did 15 hours a week, working at Target, let's say you go stock the shelves at night at Target at $15 an hour, that's $900 extra a month. And that'll play a big role in paying down your debt. Okay, I want to make sure that I explained everything. Velocity banking, I just want to share this with you. Velocity banking frees up money in this way. As you're paying these off, okay, so then the minimum payments on those become I'm drawing a blank. Oh, they become cash flow. That's the reason why velocity bank. The more cash flow you have and you do velocity banking, the faster it's going to go. The lower interest rate compared to the interest rates over here, okay, are lower. The amount, if it's lower or close to it, it's going to pay it off quicker. So velocity banking does work. I am a proponent of velocity banking, but it's situational. It depends upon your situation, how your finances are, your budget, the amount of cash flow you come up with, what you're willing to do. Are you willing to work a second job? Are you willing to cut back in some areas? But just to know that math is math. You can't continue to live in a deficit and think you're going to pay off debt, or all your debt at least. So you either have to cut some expenses, or you have to get an extra job, or make more, or work more at your job to make up for the deficit in your budget. Okay, I hope that helped you guys. Please if you're watching on your phone right now, take your left thumb and go ahead and push that like button. That really helps out with the algorithms and gets this information out to more people. And please subscribe if you found this valuable. Thank you. Have a great day.